Hello everyone. I want to give you some time just to explain this project. And for parents, you can watch this video and kind of get a sense of what was explained in class, or if a student was absent, they can watch this video and get a sense of what the requirement is for this particular project. So we're not doing a test. We did a quiz, and I really have a pretty good understanding of where some pieces are in terms of holes in understanding, but I can work with students individually on that. What I really want students to be able to do is to synthesize their understanding into this organized written project so that I can get a greater sense of what they know. So we did a flip grid, which was a video where the students took a diagram and they explained what they knew like before, and then they did a secondary video explaining how their understanding had changed. But that's like a speech. The presentation doesn't always give you a chance in 2 minutes or 3 minutes to showcase all of your understanding or to really explore the learning that's happened during the unit. And so this project, this S2 Final Mental Model project, has been designed to give our students the opportunity to really show what they know and to play into the strengths that may not be test taking. So your student has a document just like this that's attached to their name, or you as a student, you have this attached to your name in the assignment on Google Classroom. And so you will be editing your project directly here. Let's go over some of the requirements of this project. Okay, so basic structure of this particular project is that you will be answering the guiding question. The guiding question is, how do we know what is inside Earth? And then we kind of took and split that into 3 zones based on the structure of Earth, and then there's smaller guiding questions so that students can kind of chunk out their understanding. They are going to be required to answer with a claim, then provide evidence that supports that particular claim. Their evidence should be coming from resources that have been provided through the assignments, the reading assignments and presentations and videos that we've been covering over the last couple of weeks. We have spent a lot of time reviewing materials and organizing, noting what materials contain what information. We've put this all into a document called the summary table, and students have even revised that summary table and have access to everyone's input that we did for the class. So if they're having trouble remembering where a particular topic is, they can use that summary table and go in and find that assignment. There are hyperlinks within that assignment, and they can click and just go find the evidence to cite their claim, okay, or to support their claim. All resources need to be cited. This is like a bibliographic work. So I'll talk to you about a couple of different options for that, but everything needs to be recorded, and like when you use a picture, you got to get the URL. If you're looking on a document in CK12, then that needs to be cited and referenced in a bibliographic aspect of this. The students are going to then explain how their evidence supports the claim, and that's called the reasoning. And so we have claim, evidence, and reasoning. And then we're also asking the students to explain how their understanding changed. What changed in your understanding, and then what influenced that change? Was it something you read? Was it a video you watched? Was it an aha moment during a note-taking session? During all of this, the students are going to be using vocabulary that supports this particular unit and the scientific concepts that are presented in this particular unit. And so that vocabulary will be utilized throughout the presentation. And then we're asking students that they highlight the vocabulary that's key to understanding. So like anything that has to do with waves and earthquakes, S waves, P waves, surface waves, seismic activity, those words are going to be used and then highlighted within the text. The student will be doing that. You're going to add captions to explain any pictures that are included in this. And we'll talk about, there are pictures. There's an expectation for that. And then One of the things that we want to be sure that our students understand is that there's a very clear guideline in the rubric. So use of vocabulary, we have a very, very objective set of requirements, and so there should be no guesswork. Here's a list of vocabulary. So just, a student writes their claim, let's say like this, they write their claim. In this box, they'll be putting their text here in the claim. They use vocabulary that is relevant to answering this question: what are the properties of the inner and the outer core? They would cite their work and include vocabulary and highlight that vocabulary just the first time it's used. You don't have to continuously highlight a term, but the first time the term is used, highlight it within the text. And then citing information. This is the rubric that would go along with that. Like, at minimum, we want our students to be paraphrasing or using quotations and summaries that would support their understanding. And then on each slide, where you use other ideas, they can either use a link or a parenthetical citation to reference a works cited aspect of this project. Pictures that are not created by the student themselves, which they can use diagrams and pictures that they create themselves. But if it's not created themselves, then they need to link that source. They put the website that they got that source into the works cited or into the page itself. You could put it under on a byline. Okay, so let's take a look. 3 questions. I already kind of went over this. One of the properties are the inner and the outer core. They're going to make a claim. If you need more room, just copy and paste this and add on, so that if your claim is longer than one slide or you need some more room to explain it, you just take this slide and copy and paste it. Remember that your view, let me scoot over a little bit, has all of the slides there as you are editing. The editing view is not like the presentation view. So I'm using the presentation component right now. Okay, so then for this question, the student, you need to create a document that shows evidence, so that you could like put little bullet points or hash marks, and you have different points within that, pictures, but they have to be captioned. And here's an example where the URL is included. A caption would explain why this picture is evidence to support the claim about the inner and the outer core. This is just set up as an example, okay? And then the reasoning. Here the student is going to explain how the evidence supports the claim. Use a picture or a diagram and text as well. So everywhere there's a white box is somewhere where we're expecting to see text, and anywhere that this icon, the picture icon is, we're expecting the student to replace that with their own visual that supports understanding for that particular section. So then the last component is, how did my understanding change? So what was thought at the beginning of the unit about this particular topic, the inner or the outer core? What do you understand now? And then what did we do in class, or what did I research in order to be able to change my understanding? And so 3 boxes with text. This one doesn't require any pictures or images, okay? The rubric that goes along with this one is looking at some requirements for the claim and the evidence. What is being talked about. So I always read the 4 with the students. The claim is a detailed answer to the question that includes all the characteristics of the inner and the outer core. Talks about temperature, state of the matter, relative density, and common minerals that are included in that layer. Claim includes a picture that enhances the explanation. Then there should be 3 relevant pieces of evidence and a picture to include and enhance that particular evidence. So we're looking at specific requirements for each of these, and then the rubric for reasoning and the change in understanding is very similar. Explain how 3 different pieces of evidence either support or do not support the claim, and then choose at least 1 picture. So each of the claim, evidence, and reasoning should have some kind of image, and then the change in understanding doesn't require an image, but they should have 3 statements for each of those text boxes. That's a requirement in order to get a 4. That's like what we're expecting. So a 5 is beyond what we're expecting. That's exceeding the standard. And when somebody is approaching the standard, they're coming close, that's when they're in that 3 range. So we're looking at some very specific requirements in order to, get that passing grade. The other questions, there's 3 questions, the same structure, the same 4 requirements, but the other questions are what are the properties of the mantle and the asthenosphere. And then beyond that, the question is, what are the properties of the crust and the atmosphere? Okay, so there are a couple of ways that you can do works cited. You could split it up. You could do works cited for guiding question 1, or we could do a total document works cited where everything is listed at the end. Kind of showcase the way that this could work. Ideally, students would be, put one large document, but that is kind of an advanced skill for the works cited. So splitting it up into 3 separate components is totally fine as well. And then I told students that if that is too difficult for them, what they can do is they can use the notes section as a means of doing a works cited. So we would probably call this works cited, and it'd be for this particular page. So this is just an example link. This is not the link at all, but there has to be some kind of methodology for citation. The rubric is looking with the expectation that there's a works cited page, either for the question or at the end, and that's being referenced with the parenthetical, like with the parentheses, or somehow it is officially, like APA MLA style. So students might need some help with this one. We are not English teachers. We will continue to work on citation. I mean, it is a big part of what we do in science research and the like. So, but they may need some, somebody right there to tutor them through that component. And I'll be here to answer questions along the way as well. So remember, this project is due Friday at the end of the day. And so got some work to do. Good luck. And I hope that this video helps you understand what's expected.